All right, welcome everybody. As you saw in our emails for this week and last, this is a MAPS and LMSA Plus Executive Board application preparation session. So if you haven't seen your email already, we've already sent out the Executive Board application for the upcoming school year, and we'll discuss the timeline a little bit more in depth in our presentation today. But this is just a session just to present to you all the different positions that we have, the different expectations that we have for the positions, and answer any questions that you might have in preparation for your application. So to start us off, you might notice for some of you who are MAPS members that we're shaking things up a little bit. So from here on out, MAPS will be working directly with the newly started LMSA Plus chapter on campus. And I'm going to have Jacqueline, why don't you just go ahead and chat now about what LMSA Plus is all about, and then I'll explain our collaboration a little bit more in depth once everyone knows what LMSA Plus even is.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Susan. I'm Jacqueline. I'm the incoming LMSA Plus president. So basically, LMSA is the undergrad version of Latino Medical Student Association, or just LMSA, which is our parent organization. So what LMSA basically is, it's like a national organization, once again, for undergraduate students who are interested in pursuing careers in healthcare. LMSA has similar goals to LMSA, including promoting health and wellness and health and well-being of Latino communities and addressing healthcare disparities. The organization also provides resources and support for its members, including things like mentorship, leadership, of development, and like networking opportunities. LMSA Plus is just a great way for students to become involved in healthcare fields and gain valuable experience and connections that can help would help you in future careers. Sorry. Yeah, basically sums it up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. So as Jacqueline basically outlined, MAPS and LMSA Plus have very similar missions. We're both striving to provide a community support and resources to students who are from backgrounds underrepresented in the health professions, but in collaboration with the new LMSA Plus organization, we'll be able to better support our students who are of Latino, AX, as well as Hispanic identities, and just have a little bit more of an organizational focus on that as well. But because our missions are so similar, that's why we're collaborating, and we're going to be doing everything together, basically. So technically, we're two separate organizations. There still is MAPS, there still is LMSA Plus, but we're going to be doing everything together. We'll be working together on all activities, events, etc., and will be a single executive board. And so this application is not just for MAPS, it's for both MAPS and LMSA Plus executive team positions. Jacqueline, did I say anything, or does that all sound good to you?
That all sounds good. Yep.
Okay, perfect. I'm just going to stop for questions right here and now, just because this is a pretty substantial change that we're making to the organization. We'll have time for questions at the end as well, but does anybody have any specific questions about this new MAPS LMSA Plus collaboration that we can address? If not, we'll keep moving along, and you can just save whatever questions you have for the end.
Yeah, so just looking at a timeline of what the executive board application process is going to look like. So applications should have been sent to all MAPS members yesterday. I think if you just type in interview, or not interview, application, or if you type in just Hasia's name or MAPS, it should pop up. It was sent yesterday on April 12th, and the application is open until not this Friday, but the Friday after this. So on April 21st is when we close those applications. And then the week after that Friday of April 21st, so from the 24th to the 30th, is when we'll start looking at interviews and picking our applicants that we want to invite and get to know more about, essentially. And that will start from the 24th to the 30th. And then we will hopefully make a decision and release that to you guys by at most May 5th.
Thanks, Travis. And just to reiterate real fast, I am actually the one who sent out the application. So if you want to look for a name, look for mine. But other than that, like Travis said, you can search application, MAPS, LMSA Plus, one of the above. It should come up if you haven't seen it yet. So in terms of selection criteria, we wanted to outline this for you all a little bit more in depth, just because we want to be as transparent as possible about our process. So just so you all are aware, the committee who will be participating in this entire election process includes the incoming and outgoing presidents for the MAPS and LMSA Plus organizations. And these are the criteria that we will be looking at within applications and deciding which applicants we are able to invite for interviews, as well as which interviewed applicants we can select. Those selection criteria include a passion and dedication for the MAPS and LMSA Plus missions. You can read more about those in our application. Participation in MAPS as illustrated by MAPS attendance throughout the year. Prior leadership and teamwork experience. And if not experience in those, just showing a passion and potential for leadership and teamwork as well. And just to reiterate one more time, the evaluation process is solely in the hands of the elected incoming and outgoing presidents and vice presidents of MAPS and LMSA Plus, with our advisor input as needed.
So going on over to position descriptions. So we're all gonna kind of go like in a round, like with our positions, and present on what our duties are, the time commitments, including executive team meetings, the events, duties of positions, and time planning for your own events, as well as the best part for each role. So you guys can get an idea of what roles we have to offer and what roles you may be interested in applying for. So starting with secretary, this is my current position. So my responsibilities include recording meeting minutes at weekly executive board meetings. So I kind of transcribe everything that we talk about on a shared Google Doc. And then at the end of the meeting, I send this document to our executive board members, our advisors, and the SNMA liaisons as well. In addition to those duties, I send out the weekly communications to our members, to all of y'all, which you probably get early in the week. And I also schedule a mass email to send out at the start of each semester to kind of help recruit people to the organization and telling them what MAPS and now MAPS LMSA will be about. So my time commitment, 1 hour for the weekly exec board meetings, and then 1 to 2 hours attending the events. And this depends week by week how many events we have going on. And then 1 to 2 hours drafting and scheduling emails to send. So what I like to do is after the exec board meeting, since everything's fresh in my head, I'll go back through the meeting minutes, I'll draft up the email, and I'll schedule it to send Monday or Tuesday morning, depending on when I have all the information that I need. And the same times I will schedule the day of reminders, which I find to be pretty helpful. So the time commitment, that's kind of what it looks like, but it does vary week by week. And if you are planning an event, and just depending on how many events we have going on, like there's been weeks where I have 5 events or 5 things to talk about in an email, and then there's weeks where I have 1 or 2 things to talk about in an email. So it just really depends, but with good preparation, it's definitely manageable. And the best part about this role, what I really like, is leading the means of communication for the organization. For me, it's really cool to be the one sending out the emails and also kind of running the group meeting, letting you guys know and be be in on the loop between the members and the board. And additionally, the secretary works very closely with the president and the vice president, once again, for communicating. And also gets to help other exec members as needed, planning their events, recruiting people, whether that's graduate students, panelists, so on and so forth. Kind of being a team player in that sort. So if you're interested, I would definitely recommend applying for the secretary position, and I hope to see you in the interview soon.
Thanks, Hasia. So next, I will be speaking on behalf of our treasurer, who is unable to make it today, but the duties of our treasurer include recording dues payments for members, just to track which of our members have paid dues, managing the cash-in account, which is the account that we use to collect student dues, as well as our treasurer plays a big role in helping us to apply for various funding for the events that we host. For example, our treasurer helped us to apply to receive travel funding for a conference we recently attended. And they're very well versed in those forms because they are pretty in depth to be able to get maximum funding, as well as answering any questions the members might have about dues. Those are the general duties of a treasurer. But if you haven't noticed by now, by Hasia's speech and some of the slides that we've been showing, in addition to MAPS members or MAPS executive board members and LMSA Plus executive board members, doing the duties of their own positions, they also plan their own events. And that's just another really, really great leadership opportunity. And so that, as Hasia said, it adds time depending on the week, if you are planning an event, if you're not, but you have your executive board meetings, you have your events that we're hosting for the week that we expect executive board members to attend. And you might have your own event planning going on the side. So what exactly you're doing depends on the position, but one thing that's unique about our organization is that every board member also plans their own events for us. I digress from that, but in terms of time commitment from the treasurer position, our treasurer said about 2 to 3 hours a week, so very manageable. And they said the best part about the position is that it is easy to learn. So it'll be an easy adjustment to learn the treasurer stuff. Next, we have some wise words of wisdom from our social chair.
So as the social chair, this year I am in charge of planning all the social events, and then with that comes with like communicating and coordinating to plan events, location, date, time. So basically emailing places, people who are involved in the events. And the time commitment is similar, just 1 hour for the exec board meetings. And then if there are events happening that week, just like 1 to 2 hours attending the events. And this just varies based on the week. As for planning the events, this usually doesn't take too much time. I put 1.5 hours here just because the back and forth communication. And then basically what I really liked about this role was being able to contribute and be a part of the MAPS community. I think as a pre-med student, it's really important to have like a good group of people just always being supportive around you. And I think MAPS has been, has allowed me to have that community while I was pre-med. So, yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Christian and I'm in charge of the public relations role for this school year. So I'm going to just highlight some of the responsibilities that I'm in charge of. So for this role, you're in charge of the MAPS Instagram account. We used to do kind of the MAPS and the Facebook account, but I think that just the Instagram account is a lot more, has like a lot more reach. So that's kind of the focus for my role. In terms of that, we have weekly posts of upcoming events. So it's kind of a similar duty as to what the secretary does, but a lot less like on the lighter version. I don't have to send any mass emails. But you just do that within a few days before the event is to take place. So I usually do it at the start of the week. Along with that, when for the day of and for certain events, you will have to, what I do is I put Instagram story reminders to like remind any members about like any types of events that we're having like later that day. And then additionally, you'll probably get some opportunities to highlight any promotions of anything that we kind of want to highlight to our members. And I also just did that on the Instagram stories or however else like we kind of I did like specifically. When you're doing these posts and these stories, you'll be making graphics through either posters, virtual thank you cards, and the Instagram posts and stories. And also, I don't know if this is true, but for me, I was in charge of designing the Maps t-shirt, so that was really fun to do. I did that earlier last year. And so for the time commitment, it pretty much varies, but for the most part, it's an hour of attending those weekly exec board meetings. I put 1.5 hours. It might be kind of longer or shorter depending on how many events and like posts you have to make for making those graphics. I put 1 to 2 hours on attending events, and this just depends on the week, whether we have like a more than one event hosting per week or it's a lighter week on that end. And then I put around 1.5 hours on planning on events, like kind of bouncing back and forth with like communication and then organizing the event in total. But I'd say the best part about this role is letting your creativity run wild. I had so much fun making all of these graphics, and it's just like using your creative outlet. If you really enjoy kind of doing that, along with just like, letting members know about all the events, trying to like put like the fun cartoons and graphics when you're making it, I think it's a really great opportunity. And I had a lot of fun when I was part of this role. So yeah.
So for the shadowing coordinator, we have their main responsibilities as helping set up the shadowing experiences for our members. And so what we did this semester was the ER shadowing program. And with this, we had all the candidates for the ER shadowing program, which was selected by the coordinator, which if you would select this position would be you, followed by the president and vice president. And it's sort of it's a process of kind of getting applicants in and reading those applications and sending them out to the members who are interested in it as well. And we also go through the DEI Office of Shadowing program too. The time commitments for these are about 1 hour, obviously, for the exec board meetings that are for every position, and then 1 to 2 hours again for attending our events, which depend on the week, and then a bit more, 1.5 hours for planning your own event on top of the shadowing position, which is around 4 hours for setting up the shadowing experience itself. And the best part about this role is collaborating with the campus and the UHC staff, which are fantastic, and you get to make those connections too across the river.
So this record keeper position is actually a newly established position based on some reflection that our executive board has done in continually wanting to improve our organization and maps. And so we envision this position to be as follows. In terms of responsibilities, they would include tracking member points after events every week in our Maps Google Drive. It would also include keeping track of important organization contacts for the future, just people that have helped us out before, keeping track of their contact information so we can effectively contact them in the future, and also making sure that the Maps Google Drive stays organized. In terms of time commitment, similar to other positions, 1 hour for the weekly board meetings, 1 to 2 hours of attending our events, which is expected of all board members, about half an hour a week updating those attendance records. We would want those to be done that same week that the event occurs, just so we can be up to date on those records. It's very important, as well as about 1.5-ish hours, depending on what your event is that you sign up to plan for event planning. And then the best part about this role, I would say, is helping MAP stay on top of point tracking, because we have members reach out about points sometimes, and we go back and we track our points for our executive board applications, but that at the moment is more of a retroactive process, and we want to be more proactive about it in the future, instead of going back and looking at everybody's points who needs points, having updated records from the start. So that's what we envision for this record keeper position.
Okay.
everyone. So I'm gonna keep my video off. I'm outside currently and I'm getting eaten alive by bugs, so I'm just gonna avoid that visual for everyone. But my name is Jackie and I'm the mobile clinic liaison. So what that entails basically is just helping organize MAPS exclusive mobile clinic training events. So that will include maybe like labs or vitals training, or we have a new one coming out soon with the RSVP, so keep an eye out for that. And it's going to be kind of like a workup and a check-in, which is really exciting. So these are typically happen once per semester, and planning starts pretty far out just to accommodate med students' busy life schedules, and for any like physicians that will be helping out with the training. And then it's just constant communication, making sure you're staying on track, and good record keeping to make sure you're keeping track of the RSVPs as well. Time commitment, like everyone kind of mentioned, we have the 1 hour weekly exec board meeting. And then the 1 hour weekly event that's just for all MAPS exec board members. And then 1.5 hours of actual mobile clinic training. It just depends on which ones are being offered, if it's labs and vitals, or if it's our new one, which is gonna take only an hour. I guess the best part of this role for me personally was that I was able to form relationships with the mobile clinic exec board, which include med students, but also some undergrad and advisors. So you get close to them and you get to figure out how the mobile clinic really works. And so, yeah, that's the mobile clinic liaison.
Hello, my name is Ariana and I serve as the community chair for MAPS. So one of the responsibilities that are included is helping organize and implementing community service activities. So for example, last semester we did one, but this semester we'll be doing two. And so kind of with that, there is a lot of emailing some back and forth, kind of just coordinating with the kind of community event supervisor, and then also some communication and coordinating volunteers for events. So that may include Google Forms. And then the time commitment would be 1 hour weekly exec board meetings, and then also an hour weekly events that us MAPS we set each week. And then usually the community events will be 2 hours long. And then kind of with the organization of each event, it would be an hour or an hour and a half. And just personally, the best part of the role is successfully planning an event. So the event that I had done last semester was making cards for patients, and just I don't know, it was really nice to see the members kind of, try to make cards and making it aesthetically pleasing, and writing really sweet things for the patients at UHC. So it's really nice to kind of just see everything unravel and be like, yeah, that's what I did, and like, hopefully that benefited the patients a lot.
All right, my name is Ethan and I am the support group liaison. So some of my responsibilities, the main thing is that I work to create and hold the biweekly support group meeting. So if you've been to any of those, they're like 30 to 45-minute meetings where we kind of base off of kind of the things that our members need at the time just to support them. So we work to make like a welcoming and inclusive environment at these meetings, and they're super laid back and just kind of a place to connect with other students that are on like similar tracks as you guys. So like I said, we create that inclusive environment for the support groups. And then I also work to create the presentations that help the students that go to them grow as people and as students. And then a little bit about the support group leader. So at some point in the semester, we'll also recruit a support group leader who kind of does all of the same things that I just mentioned alongside me. So that's a great opportunity as well to kind of do some of the stuff that I do, and also just get to see like some of the leadership responsibilities that come with like the executive board. So my time commitment is about 2 hours a week for the support group leader duties. It kind of changes, or the support group liaison duties, excuse me. So that kind of changes week to week. We hold these bi-weekly, so I would say it's about an hour to two to make the presentation, and then it's like an hour-long meeting-ish by the time you're all done with it. And then like everybody else talked about, I also have the 1 hour executive board meetings each week, and then about 1 to 2 hours every week for the different events that MAPS holds as well. And my favorite part of the support group liaison role is that I get to kind of be in that relaxed environment and get to meet new students that are kind of learning alongside me and hoping to better themselves, and getting to work with them every week is a great opportunity and something I highly recommend.
Thank you so much. So if you couldn't guess, you just heard from all members of our executive team. They've done such a phenomenal job this year in planning events for you, enacting the positions of their, or the duties of their positions, having strong communication in our meetings, in our group chats, via email. As you can see from our presentation, it's a lot of work to be a part of the MAPS executive board. I think we're a very unique organization in that we host something every single week because we want our members to have a place that they can call home, and they always have somewhere that they can go where they'll be welcomed with open arms every single week. But that's a lot of work, but it's something that we love to do, and this team has done a really great job of doing. But the reason why we wanted to host this presentation is because we wanted you all to be aware of the time commitments that come with being a part of the MAPS executive board, and also give you the platform to ask questions. And so now would be the time to ask any questions that you might have about anything you heard today, about the application process, about the positions, whatever questions you may have. So we can, if somebody has a question right off the bat, please feel free to ask it. You can drop it in the chat or unmute yourself. Otherwise, if you need a minute, 30 seconds to think, that's totally fine too. Stop sharing my screen in the meantime. Does anybody have any questions? If not, we can conclude our meeting here. If you weren't able to stay or be here for the whole time, we will be posting this recording on the MAPS YouTube page, so you can catch up on anything that you may have missed. But we look forward to seeing all of your awesome applications, and we hope this has only made you more excited about wanting to apply for the MAPS executive board. As I said, it's a lot of hard work, but you develop so much as a leader, as a person, as a communicator. You get to work with a phenomenal team. As you see before me, they're such wonderful people, and they've done such a great job in their roles, and we've all been able to learn together, grow together. And so high commitment, but really high reward, and I would recommend anybody to do it. So we look forward to reading applications. If you did have questions that you didn't want to ask the whole group, we can stay behind for a little bit, but if not, I'll go ahead and stop recording, and